Hello everyone. I've had a time trying to make this video. Got ran out of one section from mosquitoes and a coyote come up on me in another section, so I decided coming back in the house was my best option for the night. This is going to cover some tips for youth to prevent gender-based violence and inequality. Now, these 20 tips are based on violence against girls and women. By making this video, I am in no way stating that violence does not happen to men. I am in no way stating that a woman or a girl cannot inflict violence upon a boy or a man. I am just simply going over these tips for what is known as gender-based violence in reference to girls and women. And like I said, this is basically for youth, but in places where it says like a school after school program, you can easily start an after work program. This is simply trying to guide the youth into doing what's right and speaking up, but it actually works for everyone. Number 1, recognize the role of gender in violence. While boys and men do experience abuse, it is important to remember that the majority of victims of violence are female, and the majority of perps are boys and men. This one I kind of have a little bit of issue with, because I do know that some of the statistics are not correct, because men and boys do not always speak up. So there is more out there that just stay in silence. 2, educate yourself on the root causes of violence. Violence against girls and women stem from male dominance and the socialization of men. Become educated on the roots of violence against girls and women. Read books and articles, join a group at school, and attend any trainings available to you. Learn about the myths and realities of gender violence and understand how our society condones it. 3, interrupt sexist and discriminatory language. Words are powerful, especially when used by people who have power over others. We live in a society where words are used to put girls and women down. Gendered name-calling sends the message that girls and women are less than fully human. When girls and women are seen as inferior, it becomes easier to treat them with disrespect and violence. Change the way you speak to help change the way you think. Number 4, be critical and question. Be critical and question how the media portrays girls and women, whether on TV, online, in magazines, or music videos. The media regularly uses images of violence against women and sexually exploit girls and women to sell products. Write or email the company about their negative images of women and girls and don't buy their products. 5, get the message out. Youth do not need to rely on mainstream media to get the message out. Social media is a great way to share articles, tips, and tools for the prevention of violence. 6, report photos and messages that exploit women and girls. Report any photos and posts you see that exploit or degrade girls and young women on social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Mocospace, and Instagram. 7, interrupt abuse. If you see a guy grab a girl or push a girl, say something to stop the abuse. If one of your female friends is intoxicated at a party and being led away by a guy, stop him from being alone with her and help her get home safely. 8. Stop sexual harassment. Don't engage in any form of sexual harassment, such as catcalling and unwanted touching. Be empowered to speak up against friends and peers who do this and do not look the other way. 9. Develop an action plan. Plan ahead what you would do in any situation where people you know or strangers are being abused. Sometimes it is easier to interrupt the abuse when you know what you will say beforehand. 10. Stop victim blaming. Don't blame girls and women for how they dress or judge their behavior. Violence can't be prevented through limiting the freedom of girls. This only allows the violence to continue because perps become invisible and not held accountable, and those who witness the abuse remain silent. 11. Stop rape culture. One way to stop rape culture is by not allowing people to minimize or normalize sexual assault and rape through jokes. If a peer tells a joke about a sexual violence against girls or women, say that you do not find it funny and that you will not tolerate it. 12. Call gender-based violence what it is. Violence, not bullying. Using the term bullying to label violence against girls and women masks the truth of what is really happening. By labeling it correctly, you are helping to stop a culture which normalizes and minimizes violence against girls and women. 13. Create safe spaces to discuss gender-based violence. Create an after-school club or group to openly discuss your views and experiences and support your peers. 14. Confront and reflect on your ideas and beliefs. Reflect on your beliefs, actions, and opinions and why you have them. Be honest. Admit your faults and commit to changing the way you think and act. 15. Stop stereotyping men and women roles. Social roles and expectations may affect our decisions about relationships. Men are taught that expressing feelings is not allowed or not masculine. Examine your social role and learn ways to express feeling directly and non-violently, and create more meaningful interpersonal relationships. I actually have a video about that from earlier on. It's called Boys Don't Cry. Might be something to check out in relation to that one. 16. Remember that violence is a choice. It is preventable. Don't make excuses for friends and peers who are violent. Do not support the notion that violence is caused by mental illness, lack of anger management skills, alcohol and drugs, stress, etc. Violence is a choice and preventable. 17. Be supportive and believe. When girls and women tell you about the violence they have experienced in their lives, believe them. It is extremely rare for girls to invent false stories about it. You may be the first person that they tell, and how you act will either help them open up about it or cause them to be silent. Believe her and support her decisions without judging. 18. Be aware of available resources for the girls and women in your area. Familiarize yourself with hotlines and such, so you can lead them to the right direction. Be a positive resource for them and help them contact the proper places. I do have other videos on hotlines and resources. If you're not familiar with something in your area, you can call one of the national ones and they will direct you to ones in your area. 19. Be a mentor. Volunteer your time into preventing violence by speaking to others. Bring awareness and motivate others to do so as well. 20. Understand and practice consent. Boys and young men need to be respectful when entering into a sexual relationship and should not feel entitled for girls' and women's bodies. Just because you're a nice guy doesn't mean you should have expectations.